With the third Ant-Man releasing soon, I wanted to talk about my thoughts on what I feel about the new Marvel Studios entry going in. So join me in this Pulp Thoughts on Quantamania and the start of Phase 5. Ant-Man is a character whose journey has never been an easy one, from its time being one of the earliest Marvel films to be lamented with troubles during its development due to its initial director Edgar Wright parting ways with Marvel at the time, to its multiple rewrites given to the original script by the likes of Adam McKay, who was also offered the directing gig at one point, to then land on the feet of Peyton Reed, whose work I was not familiar with at the time, but has now created some of my most enjoyable entries in the MCU, with one of his films also containing one of my most favorite post-credit scenes in all of the MCU movies. It's made me enjoy the character and his place in the MCU even more. Speaking of character, I've always loved the way Paul Rudd portrays Scott Lang. His introductory film still reminds me that not all these movies have to be about saving the world. It could be about protecting your daughter against an evil businessman while wearing a tiny animal-themed superhero suit in her bedroom, with the final battle taking place on her playset. In any other franchise, a scene like that sounds crazy. But these movies, for me at least, have always been fun and have had tremendous heart. Now, I thought the second film was okay compared to the first, with moments like Evangeline Lilly's and Michael Douglas's performance adding an extra flair to what may have been missing in the first film. However, this new one has really amped up my excitement for what I'm hoping will be a cool film. I mean, it's the start of a brand new phase of Marvel movies. And not only that, the landscape and perception of the MCU as well as its audience has changed quite a bit since the ending of Phase 4, leaving Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantamania in a very interesting place.
Hey Bruce, you don't mind if I just take this last Coke, do you? Thanks, bye!
Like it or not, we're coming off of a very mixed Phase 4. With very little meat to any matter and not much meaning in the way of investment since Endgame. First impressions are everything, and with this being the first movie of Phase 5, you better believe there will be a lot of eyes on this project. Whether warranted or unwarranted, this picture will set the tone of what's to come down the pike, so depending on what people think, it may have long-standing effects on how the rest of the phase is perceived before it even starts.
And you keep Claw busy. Tony and I have work to do.
People have been wanting a reason to care about the MCU again, as it seems they've lost what made them special by having everything mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. So this picture will also serve as a litmus test for some audiences to see if they may even want to continue following this epic story, or to signify what some have already been feeling as the beginning of a downward trend for the MCU brand. Now, don't get me wrong here, even if this film doesn't do great, it won't stop Disney from making more of them. But what I'm trying to stress is the sensitivity of the situation that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is walking into.
No sudden moves.
What, are you on its side or something?
Although I listed the worries of what could go wrong, there's also a lot going for this movie than ever before, such as the return of an MCU character, or characters whom actions still carry weight to the ongoing universe, not to mention the introduction of Kang the Conqueror, with Jonathan Majors once again elaborating on the role after his brief appearance as He Who Remains in the season finale of Loki, whose introduction, might I add, I absolutely loved. The ending of Loki's finale seemed to have created a lot of ramifications to the universe that has yet to be felt. So I'm very curious about the state of the multiverse and the fact that we haven't gotten a lot of information regarding where we stand in the scope of this multiverse outside of cameos, which adds a sense of mystery but uncertainty to what we've experienced in the previous phase, which makes me excited to see what we'll be able to cover in this one. I'd love some explanations on the many alternate timelines splitting as it did at the end of Loki, which I hope the film takes its time to have us feel the consequences of the manner through Kang and the Ant-Man crew in order to make the threat feel real. Now, it's been reported that director of the Ant-Man films, Peyton Reed, has stated that he wanted this film to feel like an Avengers-level movie. And from what's been promised, I think we're in for a few surprises that may not even be on our radar. So a little spoiler warning here for those who don't want to hear any rumors or anything going into the film. Again, these are not like confirmed or anything like that, but these are just some minor rumors that I've percolated or have been thrown at me that I kind of wanted to discuss slightly in like 1 or 2 sentences. So skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear what I'm saying for a few, like whatever, you can pause it and then skip to that timestamp. With rumors of us losing the titular character and other rumors being floated around of a post-credit scene that could contain a certain foursome or even allude to them, or the theory that some Phase 4 films are in an alternate timeline within the Prime universe our films have been following, the talk around this movie has got me elated. So I can't wait to see what differences we get with King compared to what he did before. And I think the extra additions of Catherine Newton as Cassie Lang and the return of the main cast will bring something fruitful and something we'll be discussing for the entirety of this phase, for better or worse.
Oh, don't judge me, Anton.
I'm very excited for what the MCU will have to offer us in this entry, as it's a new year and a new age for Marvel, and although we stumbled in the last phase, I wholeheartedly believe the MCU will be able to ride their own ship back to tread so long as they focus on what brought them to the dance. With that being interesting characters, consistent but natural world building, and effective storytelling. So, let me know what you think. Are you excited for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantamania? How did you feel about Phase 4? And what do you think Ant-Man 3 will actually be about? Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Too cool? Too sweet.